What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Too Pop to Handle. I'm your host, Andrew Nucatola, your pop culture best friend, and as always, I hope you guys are having a fabulous week. You guys, I am so excited to be recording this week. I'm always excited to record, don't get me wrong, but this week specifically, I am I am still coming down from one of the best weekends of my entire life. If you did not listen to last week's episode, or if you do not follow me on any of my social media, I went to Gov Ball over the weekend, which I've been going to Gov Ball for years. I've gone, I think it was my eighth time this year, I'm pretty sure, if I count correctly. And I love it. It is fun, even when the lineup isn't great. Like, I still have a good time. It's just always a good, fun time. This year, I've been talking about it for a while, and when the lineup got announced, I was saying how excited I was and how badly I needed to go. I got my tickets, I went, and holy shit, was this weekend incredible. And now, if you are new here, first and foremost, hello, welcome, thank you for joining. We are going to do things a little bit different this week. Typically, what I'll do is I'll give a little catch up, we will chit chat because, I like to keep my girls in the loop, and we'll do like a weekend recap, what's going on, just, some chit chat at the beginning. And then we go into our first segment, which is my Drew releases, which is our new music releases from last week and the new ones coming up this week. We're going to do our Drew releases first because with the releases that came out last week, they bleed into my weekend recap. And the weekend recap was very pop culture heavy and like Gov Ball was quite literally too pop to handle. So we're going to do our music first, then Gov Ball, then pop culture thing. So excuse me for, mixing things up a bit, but that's what happens when it's my show and not yours. I can do whatever I want. So let's hop in. We're just gonna hit the ground running, and then we'll get into, the Gov Ball and the Charli XCX of it all. It's been an eventful 5 days to be Andrew Nicotola. Let's get into it. So first and foremost, like I said, we are doing our Drew releases a little bit early this week, and these releases this week or last week rather, I cannot. My excitement for these releases will already give you a little tease into my weekend recap. If you can't already tell by the way I'm like buzzing, I feel like I'm literally like high. Maybe I'm just exhausted because I literally did 4 shows in 5 days, but like, regardless, the releases last week. First and foremost, Sabrina Carpenter, Please, Please, Please. Second single from her upcoming album, Short and Sweet. Incredible. Incredible. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. The song is so good. It's so cute. Everyone's eating it up. It is literally challenging Espresso, which is nuts because Espresso's numbers are insane on the charts and it's literally outbeating it. She is the moment right now. One of the moments. There are a handful of moments that we will get into, but I love it. I absolutely love the song. I feel like I talk about how much I love Sabrina Carpenter and Barry Keoghan every single week, at least 3 times an episode. And I'm just going to become more annoying about it because this music video, oh my God, I love a concept. I love the fact that she continued the Espresso music video into this. I love the fact that she brought Barry into it. I just loved this music video. There was a concept, there was a theme. It followed through, it told a story. Genius. It was so good. I love that people are finally coming around to being like, wait, I kind of see it. I kind of understand the whole Barry thing because, like, hello, where have you been? Wipe crust out of your eyes. He's not ugly. He's very good looking. I think so, at least. And if you disagree, that's on you. But I don't care. I love this song. I love this video. I cannot wait for Sabrina's album. We will talk about her Gumball set in just a little bit. I'm literally giddy. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Anyway, love this release from Sabrina. This album is going to be so good. I cannot wait. And speaking of albums that are so good, Charli XCX, the woman, the genius that you are. If you do not know, which I don't know how you wouldn't because it has taken the internet by storm, Charli XCX just released her newest album, Brat, and I am 100% obsessed with this album. It is perfection from beginning to end. There is not a single skip. There is not a bad song. There is not a bad like point in the album. The entire album is fantastic. I don't know what else to say. I have not taken it off repeat. I try to listen to something else and I cannot. It it's so good. She is doing such a good job at kind of creating a different, not a different sound because it's very much like a hyper pop kind of sound, but it's so unique to her and it's so cohesive throughout the album. And just like the way some of the songs complement each other, the way she does callbacks to songs throughout the album, songs in the past of her career, like it is just so geniusly done. I am obsessed. I made a list. I was like, oh, let me do my top three favorite songs. I couldn't even pick three. I literally was like, let me list out my favorites and then I'll go from there. I have one, two, three, four, five, seven songs. There's 13 songs on the album. I could have just listed the entire album, but the ones that I did list, my favorite is definitely Talk Talk. I love that song. It is so good. Talk Talk, Sympathy is a Knife, incredible. Apple, unreal. Unreal. Spring Breakers, I'm obsessed with. Oh, that being said, she released the bonus version of this album on Saturday, Sunday. I don't know. I was so removed from the internet while still being on the internet this weekend because I was at Gov Ball. I was just like posting Gov Ball content. I wasn't really keeping up. She released this extended version of the album at some point during the weekend with three new songs on it. Spring Breakers being one of them, which Spring Breaker she's been teasing for a while on TikTok. And when it wasn't on the track list, everybody was like, what are you talking about? And then she released three more songs with the album, which that is how you do a bonus album. Doesn't need to be 31 fucking tracks. No shade. I'm just saying. Anyway, Spring Breakers, Guess, another one on the extended version. So good. Mean Girls, and then 365 and 360. The way that it starts and ends the album with these two like sister songs and they kind of loop back on the original album. It is just so good. It is incredible. I'm gonna go ahead and say this album is in my top five if not top three albums of 2024. She is kicking some of these girls out of their spots. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to get too bold just yet. But she is definitely tugging on the wigs of some of these pop girls and kicking them out of my ranking and a lot of other people's. People are eating this album up. It has one of like the highest Metacritic scores ever. I think it's number 15 out of like every album ever ranked. If you have not listened to this album yet, please, please, please by Sabrina Carpenter, listen to Brat by Charli XCX. It's so good. I can't get enough of it. It is phenomenal. If you listen to it and you don't get it, I'm sorry that your brain isn't fully developed enough to understand how good this album is. And like, that might sound bitchy, but I don't really care. It is so good. I'm obsessed. I cannot get over it. And on top of going to Gov Ball this weekend, last night I went to go see Charli XCX at the first night of the Brat Live tour, which is really only like 3 or 4 shows, but it was her first live performance since the album came out. We will get into it. It was a night for the books. Those are releases from last week. Upcoming this week, you wouldn't know because there's no promotion for it, but Normani is releasing her album. I don't even remember the name of it anymore because the rollout for this album, I can't even get into it. I can't even begin to express how frustrated I am at the lack of promotion for Normani's album. We don't have pre-orders, we don't have merch, we don't have a track list. We have two singles that got no promotion. All her team has done is boosted a few posts on Instagram and had her make a TikTok. This is embarrassing. I am mortified. And like, what the fuck? It is crazy to see like somebody who had so much hype back when she released Motivation, whether she liked that song or not. It was everywhere. It was huge. Those performances were nuts. People were eyeing her like she was going to be the next big thing. And the fact that her album is now coming out 5 years later and this rollout is literally non-existent, I can't even get into it. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to listen to the album at this point because I have so much other music, Brat, that I can't stop listening to. I'm like, I don't need to add space for an album that the artist and their team clearly don't care enough to push. I will definitely listen to it eventually because I do like Normani and I liked the singles. Like, they weren't bad, but there's just no hype around it. And if you're not going to do it, why? Like, I don't know. I did a whole rant, I think, last week. So like, let me spare you because I have so much better things to talk about than Normani's album because of the fact that nobody's talking about it. Like they're I can't. That being said, let's put that behind us and let's get into Gov Ball 2024. Oh my God. It was perfect. It was perfect. I can't even express how fabulous this weekend was. The way that this lineup was set up, literally, it was like catered to me. It was so perfectly executed. I can't even begin to explain. So, Friday was obviously the first day, and it was like, there were artists that I definitely really, really, really wanted to see, and we'll get into who we saw in a minute. But Friday was the day where it was like the least pressing amount of sets. Like we had the most time to explore the festival and just like walk around, get a feel for where everything was, figure out like, okay, this food is over here, this activation is there. We had a lot more time to just like explore the festival, which is really ideal for the first day because you want to know where everything is when you're going to be spending 3 full days there. So we got there, we walked around, did our thing, found out where like, we had a lounge that we got to go to with like open bar and stuff. We figured where that was. We just, figured out figured out where we had to be. And then the artist that we saw who we were like most excited for, we saw Queen Herbie, which if you guys remember Carmen from back in the day, any of my Jonas Brother friends listening, Carmen opened for them in 2013. They sing Broken Hearted. What is Cause I've been waiting all day for you to call me baby. That song, that was a duo. It was a man and a woman. The girl now does her own music. She goes by Queen Herbie and she's a like full on like rapper essentially. I've followed her on TikTok for a while. She's so good. We went to her set. It was so good. Such a fun way to just kind of like ease into the weekend because she wasn't someone that I was like dying to see. No offense. I wasn't like it wasn't make or break for me, but I was like, "Oh, we have time. Let's go see her set." I'm so glad we did. It was so much fun. We saw her. Then we headed over to go see Flo, who I have talked about a bunch on the podcast. I feel like I love them. I've never seen them live, so I was really excited to finally see them. Girl, they were giving girl group realness, choreo, the matching outfits, the visuals, the vocals, the mics were on. It was so good. If you are not listening to Flo and you love like Destiny's Child, Spice Girls, Danity Kane, that girl group like 90s, early 2000s girl group vibe, please go listen to Flo. They are so good. Their set was incredible. We had so much fun. And then the headliner that day was Post Malone, who I adore. I love him. I didn't listen to his latest album, I will say, but he honestly didn't sing anything from it. I don't think I knew every song he sang, and I don't think any of them were from his new one, which fine by me. I've seen him a few times, like 2 or 3 times now, I want to say. Actually, at Gov Ball a few years ago, Thomas and I saw him our first Gov Ball, so that was a fun little full circle moment. So he was the main headliner on Friday. We made it over to his set, and it was so good. He's just one of those artists that I feel like everybody loves. So everybody was just having so much fun because everybody knew the music. He's so fun. I love him. Set was great. He always puts on a killer show. Loved it. That was Friday. And like I said, it was just perfect to kind of like ease into the weekend. And then to our surprise, midday on Friday, Ashley and her boyfriend Abhishek ended up buying tickets for Saturday. So they ended up joining us on Saturday, which was so much fun. And Saturday was a big one. There were some really exciting people that we wanted to see. So got to the festival, did our thing, got our drinks, walked around, and then we ended up seeing Doechii, who was so good. Oh my God. Thomas has been a fan of Doechii for a while and he kind of got me into her. I knew her from TikTok or things like that, but he listens to her a lot more than I do. We saw her at Jingle Ball back in December and she was great, but this time it was obviously like not Jingle Ball where they have to kind of be a little toned down. There's a different crowd, if you know what I'm saying. And this set was so good as somebody who is a very casual listener and just like really just knows the hits and that's it. It was insane. It was so much fun. She was having the time of her damn life on that stage, and I ate up every single second of it. It was so good. She is also rumored to be the feature on Katy Perry's comeback single, and if she is on this comeback single, oh, I'm excited. I cannot wait. She's so good. I'm like definitely I like saved her album and everything to my phone after because I was like I need to listen to her more. She's incredible. I loved her. Her set was so much fun. From there we went over to go see one of the main events of the weekend, Miss Sabrina Carpenter. Oh, oh my God. To nobody's surprise, I had the time of my damn life. She was so good. We got the first live performance of Please, 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 which is incredible. We got to see Espresso live, which obviously I've never seen. I haven't seen her since December at Jingle Ball as well. And so she did Espresso. Everybody went crazy for it. I will say, and I'm usually not one to get like this, to like care. I don't care how people spend their time at a concert. If you don't know every word, that's fine. The girls around us, and like not just like immediately around us, like really like in the surrounding areas, knew none of the songs. Not even like Feather, like they were just standing there pretty much waiting for espresso and nonsense, and that was it. They were watching us more than Sabrina. They had eyes on Thomas, Ashley, and I singing, dancing, having fun, and like they weren't like judging from what I could tell. Like they were literally just like thinking it was funny and like enjoying watching us have fun, which like buy a ticket next time, subscribe to the podcast. But I was like, these people are so fucking lame. I kept saying it. I was like, I can't believe everybody around us isn't dancing. And they also kind of would like look away when I said that. But like, I didn't really care. I was also a little under the influence. So it is what it is. I had the time of my damn life. One thing about me is I don't care if I drunk, sober, the only person in the room, in a crowd of 100,000 people, I'm gonna dance. I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna make sure I'm having my main character moment, and that I did. I had so much fun. Her nonsense outro, her little pride shout out, it was so cute. Oh, I forgot what the whole thing was, but it ended with saying like it anyone who hates pride can suck my Gov Ball. Girl, come on, we love an ally. Obsessed. She is just too good for words. I love her so much. From there, we went to go see Sexy Red, right? Yeah, Sexy Red, who she was good. She she got into a fight at the airport the night before at Newark Airport. Girl, you're at Newark Airport. Why are you getting into a fight? Like a full-on brawl. The security footage has now been like released and is on Twitter. It's not getting that big of headlines, surprisingly enough, but it is out there. She got into a literal full altercation at Newark Airport the night before her Gov Ball set. So I wasn't even sure if she was going to show up. She did. She was there. Her set was fun. It was fine. It didn't alter my life in any mean. Like Dochi's set, I was like, oh, that was incredible. Hers was like, all right, it was fine. It was fun. We had a good time. We were also drunk out of our mind. So like we just had fun regardless. So we killed some time there. And then we went to go see Pop Princess herself, Carly Rae Jepsen. Oh my God. If you've never seen Carly Rae Jepsen live, you are missing out. People, I feel like, clown on her. They're like, oh my God, that's the Call Me Maybe girl. That's all she's good for. She is incredible. Her albums are just so good. Like genuinely, I'm not just saying this as like a funny gay man who likes bad pop music because I do like bad pop music, but Carly Rae Jepsen does not release bad pop music. She is incredible. You can just tell that she loves to perform. She loves to be on stage. She loves to be singing. She loves to do music. Her energy, her vibe on stage, every time I've ever seen her, it is genuinely just like one giant party. She is so fun. It was incredible. It was so much fun. I just love her. I love her so much. And please, like, people I feel like always are like, oh my God, Carly Rae Jepsen, call me maybe. I'm not listening to her. You're missing out. You are missing out on perfect pop music from Miss Carly Rae Jepsen. She is so good. If you need any recommendations, shoot me a DM. I will give you a full list of Carly Rae Jepsen songs to listen to that will make you be like, oh fuck, this music is incredible. Because it is. Ugh, I love her. So much fun to see Carly Rae. And then we saw 21 Savage because Ashley and Abhishek wanted to go see them. I only caught the end of his set, but the crowd was really into it. I'm always impressed when somebody can like get the crowd to also be into the set. You know, sometimes crowds make or break a set, and I feel like his crowd was so into it. He had like fireworks, he had like sparklers on stage. Like he brought the production. I was so into it. Oh my God, wait, I completely forgot to mention. Hello. Friday, we were trying to kill time because we were in between sets. So we stopped by Raul Alejandro. I might be butchering that. I'm sorry if I am, but we went to go see his set. He was like the second headliner right before Post Malone. Like he was still on, you know, he was big on the poster, but he wasn't Post Malone. We stopped by his set just to go see what was going on. He had a full production. He had a whole stage design. He had fireworks, choreo. He was killing it. I don't know his music. I don't listen to him. Couldn't pick him out of a lineup. I was so impressed. I was genuinely like, this is how men need to perform. This is how you do it. He killed it. He's also so hot. Like, I walked up and I was like, I would have stayed for his entire set. Like, I would have been here barricade for this man. He was so fine. I was like, this is why Thomas wanted to go see him, and I don't blame him at all. I'm so glad he did. Oh, he got spent some extra time on that man. Beautiful. So that was Friday, and then Saturday, like I said, we saw 21 Savage, and then the Killers were headlining, which not my music, just putting it out like, that's just not people I listen to. Obviously, I know like Mr. Brightside. I know some of their songs, but just not someone I'm like dying to see. So I saw like a few minutes of them. We were like walking through to go find Thomas. He went to grab food, so we went to go find him, and I heard a few of their songs, and we kind of just like sat in the grass. We were just like soaking up, the end of the day. We watched the sunset through the Gov Ball sign, had some food, and then we left for the day. It was fabulous. So much fun. I'm so glad Ashley and Abishay got to come. I know Ashley always listens, so hey girl. So that was Saturday. So much fun. And then Sunday. I I'm gonna go on record and say Sunday was top three best days of my entire life. I, I can't even begin to explain. The day starts out, I wake up, mind you, I'm not hungover, but I'm definitely feeling, I'm like, oh, I was at a festival 2 days in a row and I have a third day. Like I was feeling the festival scaries, but it was the biggest day headliner and like lineup wise for me. Like the artist, it was Chappell, Roan, SZA, and Renee Rapp. Like hello, it's literally my Apple Music library. And so I wake up and I see that Chappell Roan is throwing a party at Stonewall before the festival. So it was unclear if she was going to be there or not. But I was like, if Chappell shows up to Stonewall and I don't try to go, I will hate myself forever. I love Stonewall as like touristy and like, like typical gay bar in New York as it is. I always have so much fun there. If you've never been, it is very historic, and I feel like anytime I bring somebody there for the first time, they're always like, "This is so cool, such a piece of history," and like it definitely is. But it's also just like fun. Like I like going to Stonewall. I don't know, it's a good time. So if Chapel went and I didn't try to go, I would have been. I just would have been so mad at myself. So we made our way downtown. We got ready early. We weren't going to leave until like 2 o'clock that day. We were like, you know what? Let's start early. So we went down, we met our friends Tara and Emmy. We went to Stonewall, did not go in. It was insane. The line was just nuts. And Chapel ended up not showing up, so it worked out for us. We ended up just getting on the train and going right over to the festival, which ended up working out perfectly. We met up with my friend Kate. We all just hung out for the day. And it was like, those days where like everything just works out perfectly? This is how that day was. All five of us wanted to see the exact same sets. All five of us were like on the same vibe. We all wanted to drink. We smoked a little. Like we just had fun. We were all just like carefree, having a good time, like living our lives. And it was chef's kiss, incredible. I'm not even gonna talk about anything besides the big three, Chapel, SZA, and Renee, because like everything else, like we saw Kevin Abstract for a second, terrible, but I don't like Kevin, so I'm not even gonna like we're not even going to go into it because it's not worth it because the day was so perfect. The first set of Sunday that we wanted to see was Chapel Roan, which was the most energetic and lively crowd I have ever seen. First of all, this crowd was insane. If you have not seen the drone footage of Gov Ball from Sunday when Chapel performed, it genuinely, I don't know if anybody was anywhere but that stage. Like, I don't think anyone else performing at the same time as Chapel, there had to be nobody there because every single person at the festival was at this set. It was nuts. She was incredible. Coming out in full Statue of Liberty drag out of an apple bong. Ugh, I'm still not over it. As soon as we saw the apple roll out on stage, I was like, what is going on? And then when it spun around and the Statue of Liberty comes out, it was fucking incredible. I can't get over it. She looked insane. She sounded incredible. The crowd was literally the craziest crowd I've ever been in a good way. Like it wasn't rowdy, it was people weren't pushing, people weren't fighting. Like everybody was just having so much fun. Everybody was so happy, dancing, singing. Like it was true euphoria for an hour or a 45 minute set, however long it was. It was just incredible. I The come up of Chappell Roan is something that needs to be studied in textbooks because in I think it was like March, she had 2 million listeners, which is also crazy because when her album came out last year, she didn't even have a million monthly listeners. In March, she had like 2 million. This week, she's up to 20 million monthly listeners. Do you know how crazy that is? That growth rate? That's fucking nuts. That is insane. And she deserves every single second of it. She is so, oh, I love her. I love her so much. And this set was incredible. I can't get over it. We all, the five of us, like turned to each other at the end and we all were like, we all just experienced something that was a core memory and like truly life altering. It was like a life changing set. And I know this sounds so weird and so like it was a fucking concert. No, this was not just a concert. This was not just a set. The You had to be there. You truly just had to be there to understand the feeling of this crowd and this set and like everything involved with it. I'm just gonna leave it at that. It was incredible. And that was only our first of three sets that we were wanting to see that day. Like, it was just gonna keep getting better. Next up, we had Miss Renee Rapp, who is my girl. You guys know I love her down. I am obsessed with her. I've seen her a bunch, but like seeing her do the main stage at Gov Ball was so incredible. The first time I saw her was her first shows ever back in 2022, I want to say, right after her EP came out. And it was at this like tiny little bar in Brooklyn. It was so hard to get tickets for those shows because she was already blowing up, but I was so happy I ended up getting one. I went with Jacqueline and we had the best time. And then I've seen her a bunch. I've seen her at like the Apple store. I saw her at like 92 NY. I've seen her at, I went to the View to see her. I've seen her a bunch. So to see her like truly like grow and evolve as an artist. Not even from like her beginning, because like I wasn't even out with her like that for Broadway. It really started with Sex Lives and then from there. But to see her like go from that little stage in Brooklyn to the main stage at Gov Ball in less than 2 years was so crazy. I had so much fun during her set. I love her so much. Her album was just like it was one of my favorites of last year, and I just ugh, it was incredible. I love her. It was such a good set. Again, we all had so much fun during her set. We were just like dancing, singing. It was just like the vibes were perfect the whole day. It was incredible. I have no other ways to describe it but that. Renee just so good. And then after Renee, we had SZA, which I mean, hello. Like this day was truly so good. I'm like, if you're watching the video, I'm beaming. I literally I we left the festival that night and we were like, guys, that was life changing, right? We all were literally like out of our minds, blown away by how incredible this whole day was. But SZA comes on, she was the main headliner of the day, and like, come on, come on. She is just incredible live. If you've never seen SZA, you have to add it to your list to see her. Like she vocals, choreo, visuals, set design, the way she like interacts with the crowd's energy. And it was also the 7 year anniversary of Control, which is crazy to think that album came out 7 years ago. I had a moment when she was talking about when the album came out 7 years ago and like where she is now. And I was like, thinking about where I was 7 years ago and where I am now, I got like emotional. Also, I got emotional during all of these sets that day, during Chappell, Renee, and SZA. I fully cried happy tears because I was just having such a good time. But SZA set specifically, like when she was saying like, oh my God, this album came out 7 years ago, and she was singing like, she sang a lot of the songs from Control, and I was just like, oh my God, thinking about where I was 7 years ago when that album came out, it was a crazy spot for me to be in, and now where I'm at now, like it was just, one of those moments. And like after the day that we had, it was the weekend really, like it was such a perfect weekend, and like it was the last set, it was the final like performance for the entire festival to end it like that, and just like a full circle moment. It was so perfect. It was truly like euphoric. It was like something I could never explain. This year's Gut Ball was so incredibly special to me. Like it was truly perfect. I loved it so much. I had the best weekend, and I did vlog the entire weekend. So all 3 days I did vlogs. They're over on my TikTok. So if you want to get like, you know, more into like what our day was like, see what we were wearing. I thought I looked so cute all weekend, not to like toot my own horn, but like I didn't go crazy with my outfits, but I did enough where they were like still cute and I did put effort into them, but I didn't go off the walls, which is like kind of the vibe at Gov Ball. Nobody goes too crazy except people who were there for Chaperone. Like walking in on Sunday, you could tell from the second you scanned your wristband how many people were there for Chaperone because people were dressed up incredibly for Chapel. It was so good. But for the most part, Gov Ball, like, nobody goes that crazy. You dress cute, you get a cute outfit, you do your thing, but like, it's not Coachella. People go like ham for Coachella. This is like, calm down a bit, and that's what I love about it. It is more about the music. But like I said, I did vlog the entire weekend over on my TikTok. All 3 days are up. I also did set rankings, which was fun. So those are up on my TikTok. Go check them out at Andrew Nucatola. And that is Gov Ball 2024. It was truly one for the books. One of the best weekends of my life. I'll never get over it. Like if I'm gonna be talking about it forever, and I'm not sorry. It was incredible. So that was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, we went to work, struggle bus city. Tuesday, work, struggle bus city. But the night was ending, seeing Charli XCX, like I said earlier. Oh my God. So it's like a limited tour she's doing. I think it's like 3 or 4 dates. She's in Chicago. I think she's doing LA. I don't know. It's a very small run, but New York was the first night because New York's the best city in the world. I was lucky enough to get a ticket. I'm so glad that I did. This show was insane. It was legitimately like a rave. It was a party. From the second she stepped on stage to the second she left, we were dancing, we were sweating, we were singing. Like the lights that she had, like it was just so sick. And what was so cool is like it wasn't anything mind-blowing production wise. She had a few like backdrops. She had like the Brat backdrop come up. She had a blue one, and then she had Party Girl, which was sick. The back of the stage said party and the stage said girl. It was just so cool. The way that the lights just like complemented the songs, it was sick. Charli's such an incredible performer. I've seen her a bunch. I've been seeing Charli. I think the first time I ever saw Charli was Gov Ball 2016 or 2015. So everything's coming up Gov Ball, I guess. But I've seen Charli a ton, and this was like insane, especially the hype around the album and just like everybody there was obsessed with the album. You could tell it was so much fun. We were dancing, we were singing, like I said, it was just incredible. Some crazy people were there though. First and foremost, before she even goes on stage, Maddie Healy and Gabriette walk past. And then, 3 or 4 songs in, who else is spotted at the show other than Lorde? Which, if you know me, Lorde is literally one of my favorite artists of all time. She is literally tied with Beyonce. I've said this so many times. So, as soon as I found out she was there, I was like, I'm gonna have a mental breakdown. I did not see her. It didn't take away from the night or anything. I didn't expect to see her, but I was just like, oh my God, I'm in the same room as Lorde. What the fuck? Renee Rapp was also there. Julia Fox was there. Like, it was Kim Petras was there. It was like a stacked night. It was incredible. It was so much fun. Truly just like insane. It was so much fun. Also, there's so much like excitement to go to like the first show after an album comes out, you know what I mean? Because it's the first time this artist is singing most of, if not all of these songs live. It was so fun. Again, I can't get over how good this album is. It is truly a masterpiece, and it'll be on repeat for months, if not the rest of my life. I love it that much. And I think that about wraps up my weekend. That was really like the gist of it. It was literally like bus, club, another club, no sleep, Gov Ball, SZA, Charli XCX, Renee Rapp, Carly Rae Jepsen, Sabrina Carpenter, Chappell. Like it was just like jam packed. I am so tired. I'm so tired, but that's okay. It was worth it. It's fine. We are almost to the weekend. I will sleep when I'm dead. It was all worth it. So much fun. And yeah, that was my weekend recap. Like I said, if you are new, I usually do my weekend, excuse me, stuff at the beginning, and then we go into more pop culture stuff. But, this was a special occasion. But with that, we're going to go right into some more pop culture news. Honestly, kind of a slow week. Maybe just because I was so busy, but like, wasn't too much going on. But I plucked a few things, and we will chat about what I plucked. First and foremost, Miss Ariana Grande, The Boy Is Mine music video. Are we kidding? I loved it. I loved it. One thing about Ariana Grande, she's going to give a killer music video. The concept, the visuals, the production, everything was there. Also, brunette Ariana making a comeback in this video. God, I literally when she popped up with that brown bob, I was like, the things you have taken from us. I don't hate the blonde, but just seeing the brunette reminded me how much I love Ariana with brunette hair, and I was just like, God damn it. If it wasn't for Wicked, I would be so angry that her hair is blonde right now and not brunette. But this video was great. I loved Penn in it. Brandy and Monica being the newscasters. Genius. It was such a good video. If you have not watched it, you're missing out. It was fabulous. And in other Ariana Grande news, she was just on Penn Badgley's podcast, which I love that they kind of did like a switch. He played her love interest in the music video. She went on his podcast, and she was spilling some tea. Biggest thing really being, I think, the Nickelodeon thing, and then she completely called out Page Six, but we'll get into it. She did say that her the like recent album cycle that she just did and like where she is in her life right now is the happiest she's been ever. She's saying like this album was not something she planned to make, it just kind of happened. And I think that's why it was so good. Again, that's top three albums of the year for me right now. And she was just saying, she was like, I didn't plan to make this album. I just did it. And like where I'm at in my life right now, it just felt right. It came together right. And that's how you make a perfect album, point blank period. She also did mention the Nickelodeon thing, with Quiet on Set just coming out. She was quiet on set, for lack of a better words, when that was premiering, and people were kind of coming for her for not saying things, but I think that was a very weird argument and weird stance to take on it. I think any of the kids involved with all of that, Victorious, iCarly, all that, like that whole jam, whatever you want to call it, if they experienced trauma, which Ariana absolutely did, we all saw the videos that she was like forced to make with the feet and the potato and all that weird shit that Dan Schneider was cooking up at Nickelodeon back then. We know, if there's that's not something you just like do and you're just like, all right, yeah, that was normal. Like when you finally have a fully developed brain and understand, like, oh, this grown man was making me do these things when I was 14 years old, like it fucks with you. So I don't think it was right for people to kind of come for her and be like, oh, why was she not speaking up? It's tough. It's not an easy thing to deal with. I can't even imagine being at that level of stardom and like not speaking up, but she's talking about it. She didn't go too much into it, but she alluded to the fact that like, yeah, that was some stuff she had to work through with therapy. I thought she made a really good point. She brought up the fact that like child actors should have some type of like mandatory therapy 1 to 2 times a week because just to make sure like everything's okay. There should always be a parent on set. There should be like mandatory therapy just to like talk through things, make sure everything's okay because everything that just came out from Quiet on Set, even though it was 20, 30 years ago, 10 years ago, however long it was, I'm sure things can still continue to happen. Unfortunately, that's kind of how Hollywood is. I think it's a lot safer and there are a lot more like laws and rules in place now than there were back then, thankfully. But like, I don't think it's a bad idea to, have a therapist on site just in case. These people on the set, they're not always looking out for the kids the way that they should. So I thought that was a really good point for her to make. I also love the fact that she completely called out Page Six for talking shit about her and her therapist. They bleeped it out or they like muted it, but you can clearly read her lip that she says Page Six. But she said, she's like, oh yeah, back when I was, coming up, Page Six wrote an article saying that my therapist couldn't even deal with me because I was so hard to work with. And I've been with my same therapist for 15 years. So not sure where they got that from, but I just love that I feel like she's at a point in her life where she doesn't care. She doesn't give a fuck. She's going to say what she wants and take with it what you will. Like, she is clearly one who does not. She's not for the media. She's not for paparazzi. She's not for interviews that aren't gonna like paint her in a positive way. Like, that's just not her jam, which understandably. And I thought that was so funny. It is like clear as day. Even though it's muted, she literally says Page Six. And Thomas made a joke. He was like, I can hear her saying it, I feel like, because it's so obvious what she says. And now the article is resurfacing. So clearly that's what it was. But I just love her. I feel like she never holds back on things. She just kind of will just like give it to you straight how it is and call it how you see it. But yeah, so that was Ariana on Penn Podcast. I actually didn't listen to Didn't listen to it, not gonna lie. But I did a read through. I do want to listen to it eventually. I want to watch it because I feel like that's a podcast I would enjoy watching. So I'll get around to it eventually. But those are the main takeaways I could find online. And then next up, Miss Taylor Swift. Is something coming this week? Do we think she's gonna announce something at her show this week? Because I don't know. Again, I told you guys I was done clowning, and I am. I'm not clowning. I just have been seeing a lot coming across my desk that is alluding to something happening this week, and she's kind of playing into it. So I am not saying something's gonna happen, but let's just look at the facts. This week, actually, if you're listening to this today that I upload this, June 13th, it is the 13th. Obviously, 13. Taylor Swift's favorite number, her birthday, her lucky number. We all know the whole 13 lore. June 13th. Tomorrow is also the 100th Eras Tour show. Mind you, she's not even like halfway done. I don't think she still has so long to go, but the 100th show, finally, we have made it. It is also just something to point out that at the end of the I Can See You music video that is filmed in Liverpool, where tomorrow's 100th show takes place on the 13th of June, ends with her getting away in a getaway car. What album is Getaway Car from? Reputation. What number album is Reputation? 6. What month of the year is June? 6. What's tomorrow's date? 6/13. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying she's announcing Reputation Taylor's version this week, but something is weird. And it would also be kind of dumb if she didn't announce something tomorrow. Delaney, if you guys know and love her, that episode did so well when she came on, our official Taylor Swift correspondent, as I like to call her. She also pointed out the fact that she might just release like a Tortured Poets Apartment single. Maybe she'll announce like the next music video or something. I don't know. That could be something to think about because it would be weird if she did end this era so quick, but I also think like she could announce something now and have just a long album rollout. Like it could be a 2 to 3 month album rollout while she's on tour. I don't know. It's just weird. There's a lot of signs pointing to something, but there's always a sign pointing to something with Taylor Swift, and usually it's nothing. So who knows what's gonna happen? We will see. She also was out to dinner last night with a very interesting crew, to say the least. She was with Cara Delevingne, Kate Moss, Stella McCartney, and Lena Dunham, which I didn't know that she was still friends with Lena. I figured, well, I obviously she took Jack's side. Maybe this is a new thing they're rekindling. I don't, when I saw her, I was like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, quite literally, Ariana, what are you doing here? Very odd. I don't know if that's like a friendship that has been going on continuously and they just kind of like coexist with the fact that Taylor and Jack are so close, or if it's maybe she just like got a pity invite from someone. I don't know. They were out to dinner in London last night and she was wearing the Tortured Poets Department clock necklace that she wore to the Grammys the same night that she announced Tortured Poets Department. I don't know. Lots of weird things happening with Taylor Swift, on top of the fact that Maddie Healy is now engaged, which I'm always at the scene of the crime. I was there for Carly Claus and her kissing at 1975 and 2014. I was at the Eras tour when Maddie performed on stage with Phoebe Bridgers and like that during their like month-long fling or whatever it was. And then last night, the night that they announced their engagement, I was like, I am always at the scene of the fucking crime. I don't know. Very weird, but it is odd that she's like out and about wearing the Tortured Poets Department clock necklace, all of this stuff going on. I don't know. Something may or may not be happening. We will see. By the time this episode is out, the show is this day, if not already happened. So we will know. We will talk about it next week, whether something happens or not. Am I getting my clown makeup on? Or are we getting a new album? We will see. And that is all of our little pop culture things. Obviously, we have our TV recap. We have my Yes and My Mess. Let's hop into some TV recap. First and foremost, I cannot remember what happened on the Kardashians last week for the life of me. Like, I know what happened, but it was nothing substantial. Kim had her birthday party. Chris went to the doctor. Like, it was very much just like a episode, so I'm not even gonna bother recapping it. We're gonna just skip it this week. But Drag Race this week, I really like this episode again. I am loving this All Stars 9 season. So it is another day in the workroom, and not only are our queens in the workroom, the Teletubbies are there, which It's a sentence I never thought that I would say, but lo and behold, the Teletubbies are in the workroom and they are doing a Soul Train line with the queens. They're dancing, they're getting down. Like those Teletubbies had moves and they were dancing with the queens, doing their thing. And it was so funny. It, the way that the Teletubbies have become like gay icons, I need to know the lore behind it because like I who owns the rights to the Teletubbies that now they're able to just do all of these like trendy TikToks, be on Drag Race, go to DragCon. They just did a Pride campaign with the New York City Ferry. Like they are very queer coded, which we love. I love the Teletubbies growing up. I actually dressed up as Poe one year. I have a picture. I'll post it on my Instagram. But like I loved the Teletubbies growing up, so it just makes sense that like now I'm gay, you know? It just like it was kind of written in the stars. But I'm just like, how did we get here? Like, who at Teletubbies HQ decided to take the queer route with them? I'm not mad about it. I'm down with it. But if anybody knows that background, could you let me know? Because I'm very intrigued at how we got from the Teletubbies show back in like the early 2000s to them being on Drag Race. I love it. Do not get me wrong. Like, do not get your, don't get your wires crossed. I love it. I'm here for it. I just really want to know the lore behind it. Like, how did this happen? But so that's their mini challenge. They do their thing. Gottmik ends up winning the mini challenge, I want to say. Yeah, I think Gottmik wins, which cool, fun, love that. And then we find out that this week is an acting challenge. The girls are telling real estate and they are in pairs. So since Angeria has been cut off twice, we find out that she now gets to pick who's going to be paired up, which is actually kind of fun. Yes, she got the shitty end of the stick being cut off 2 weeks, but now she gets to pair people together and she kind of does a good job at pairing people up. I don't know that there's like a bad pairing for this cast. Like, I feel like everybody does kind of get along. They've butt their heads here and there, but like, I don't think it's like with All Stars, it's kind of hard to be like, oh, I'm gonna pair this girl with that girl, unless it's like Alyssa and Coco, because obviously then it's, drama mama. But like this cast specifically, I was like, they could have put the girls with anybody, and I think they all would have gotten along and been all right. But so the groups end up being Plastique and Roxy, Angeria and Vanjie, Chanel and Nina, and Georges and Gottmik. And like I said, they are selling real estate, so they are selling real estate for these kooky places around the U.S. They're in like Texas, they're in Florida, Salem, Massachusetts, and Alaska, I believe it was, or Antarctica. One, I don't know, somewhere fucking cold. Um, I liked the skits. I thought they were funny. None of like, I thought this was like a very fairly rated episode. I will say I was a little worried that Plastique was gonna get that edit of like she's not pulling through, she's just relying on Pretty. My girl turned it out. She did such a fantastic job in this challenge. I was so proud of her. Her and Roxy and knocked it out of the park. Spoiler alert, they end up winning. They absolutely deserved the win. I loved it. But before we get into the winners and who cuts who, because that's a whole drama. The runway, it was a night and day reveal. So, you have to do like your day look and then reveal to a night look. There were some good ones and there were some ones. Gottmik, Plastique, Vanjie, I loved. Gottmik's was genius. That little suit in the front, corset, lingerie in the back. It was giving that meme of that guy in the mirror. Obsessed. Plastique, it wasn't like it was obvious that it was a reveal. Like we knew what was gonna happen. She was gonna pull off her outfit and it was gonna be underneath. And like she looked gorgeous when she first came out. But that like alien chrome fitted like bodysuit. I don't even know what to call it. It was so cool and well done. And the hair that she was wearing, it's not an easy hair to pair with one look, let alone two. So I was really impressed with the fact that she was able to do her makeup and her hair to the level that she did and still pull it off with both looks. Loved it. And then Vanjie. So Vanjie relies a lot on like, she's sexy, she wears her little outfits, things like that. I thought this was a really fun route for her to take. She came out in that little, like, that little white shopping moment, doing her thing, and then she revealed to Pretty Woman, which, genius. I literally thought it. As soon as she came out, I was like, give us Pretty Woman, give us Pretty Woman. And lo and behold, she revealed to Pretty Woman. I loved it. I liked the fact that she did something different. She kind of, didn't just rely on her typical Vanjie stuff. I really liked it. Thought she looked gorgeous. Roxy, Chanel, Georges, I liked. They were fine. Surprisingly enough, I didn't love Angeria's. I thought it was just really all over the place. She looked fine, like she looked good, and if you've listened for a while, you know that she is one of my absolute favorites. I love Angeria. This runway just wasn't my favorite. It was I don't know. And then Nina's, and I know she's supposed to be like campy and fun, whatever, but like it just like I don't know. Nina West's shoes looked like what Penn Station looked like after Harry Styles at Madison Square Garden. If you went to any of Harry Styles' concerts, actually probably anywhere, the boa feathers lingered around Manhattan for months after his residency here. It looks like Nina West went to MSG after a Love on Tour date, picked up the feathers, and then glued them to her heels. It just like I didn't like it. It was not for me. And before we find out who wins, Georges has a little emotional moment on the runway. And while they're giving critique, she starts crying. She's like, I feel like I'm not making you proud. And RuPaul, nobody loves Georges more than RuPaul loves Georges. Like, I, watching Ru talk to Georges the way that she was, it was so cute. It was just like, she was like, Georges, you are here for a reason. We love you because you're so gay. Lean into it. Be gay, do your little hand things, be your little Georgia self. Like, Rue loves Georges, and it was so cute. But like I said earlier, Plastique and Roxy end up winning, and they end up lip syncing to Super Freaky Girl by Nicki Minaj. Killer song, such a fun song. Plastique did not know the words. Gonna call it how it is. She did not end up winning, so rightfully so. They did good. It wasn't a groundbreaking lip sync. It could have been a lot better, but it was still good. Roxy definitely turned it the way she was doing like the MC Hammer dances and stuff. Loved it. She'd Roxy Andrews. She's never lost a lip sync. She's not gonna start now. So Roxy ends up winning, and then the drama starts. She decides she doesn't want to cut anyone. She doesn't feel, she like doesn't, she's like, all, worked up and playing Miss Congeniality about it. So she covers her eyes, walks down the girls backwards, and somehow miraculously ends up on Angeria, which would have made it Angeria's third time getting cut. And I love the fact that Angeria, she was not having it. She literally looked at her like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Because rightfully so. If Angeria got cut a third time in 5 episodes, 5 episodes, 6 episodes, whatever it is, girl, I would have been mad too. I would have been mad as hell. Roxy knocked some sense into her, and I said, cut Gottmik off. Gottmik is a front runner. Cut her off. You know what I mean? Like, just do it. She'll be fine. She's killing this competition. It's 1 week. She'll be all right. So she ends up cutting off Gottmik. She's crying. She's like fully bawling on stage. I was like, it is not that deep. And that brings us to the end of the episode. Again, I am really loving this season. I was thinking, I was like, it's gonna be sad when Drag Race isn't on because essentially we get like 7 months of Drag Race with the regular season and All Star starting, and then we always get international ones in the meantime. I don't always watch them. I do enjoy them. Like I've watched Canada, I've watched UK, I watched a handful of them. I just don't always keep up with them. So we'll see. Maybe now that I'm doing the podcast and I'll need things to talk about. Maybe I will watch the international ones this time. I heard that UK last season was really good, so I need to go back and watch that. I'm sure we'll also get like a UK versus the world, so we'll see. But I am sad thinking about the fact that like the main drag race things, they'll be over not that, kind of soon. So that being said, that is the end of our episode. But you guys know I end every episode with my yes and my mess of the week. My yes being something I'm loving and my mess being something I am not loving. And this week we actually have 2 yeses and 1 mess. My first yes is a standalone yes, just something I'm loving right now. And then my second yes and my mess kind of go hand in hand. There's something kind of piggybacking off of last week, but we'll get to them when we get to them. First up, my first yes of the week is Hacks. If you are not watching Hacks on HBO Max, add it to your list. We started it about a week or two ago, and we are obsessed with it. I know I'm late to the party. Season 3 just ended, so we're like halfway through season 2 right now, I want to say. So we're getting through it. It was recommended to us by one of Thomas's coworkers. We watched the trailer, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna love this. I loved it from episode 1. Every single episode has been fantastic. It is so good. It's essentially about a comedian and then this writer who gets pretty much like banished from all of her jobs from like one tweet that she has, and her last resort at the agency she's at is to go write for this comedian, and this comedian is like rotted. She lives in her own world. She is she's always right. Like everybody around her has to adapt to her kind of thing. Like she lives in her own world. She's been doing this forever. Like there is no, it's her way and that's it. And now this girl comes in, they kind of butt heads, and then they end up, kind of building a friendship. Then they hate each other, and they love each other. Like it's very much just like a almost like a sisterly bond kind of thing. It's hysterical. It's so well done. The character development is great. The actors in it are great. Like it is so good. It's an easy watch too. The episodes are short, so if you're looking for something to watch right now, just like, pass some time, check out Hacks, HBO Max. Again, this is not groundbreaking. I am very late to the party. It's literally been on for 3 seasons and I'm just starting it now. But if you are like me and you weren't watching it before, add it to your list. I think you would like it. It is very, very good. And that being said, our second yes and our mess, they go hand in hand. So last week, if you remember, I talked about the fact that Megan Thee Stallion and Ice Spice released the ugliest album covers I've ever seen in my life. Now, one of these girls took the advice and, was like, you know what? Let me grow from this. Let me be a mature adult and change something. And the other one decided to pick on a fan on Twitter who was just having some fun with Photoshop. And I think you could probably guess who is who. So our second yes this week is Megan Thee Stallion. She saw the feedback online. She released an alternate cover, and not only did she release a better alternate cover, people still had feedback on the alternate cover. She released a third alternate cover today, which is essentially the same cover that she released the second time, just with one minor edit to it. The first one, hideous. Second one, it was good. She's like coming out of an egg, but there's still that giant white M behind it. Everybody was like, why is the M there? Like, you don't need a girl. The image speaks for itself. And then today, she posted the album cover without the M. She's listening, she's adapting. This is what the fans want. Give the fans what they want. You still look gorgeous. You're still Megan Thee Stallion. We're still going to eat it up. But just listen. You know what I mean? I love when an artist can take feedback and listen. Now, on the other hand, Ice Spice. Now this is my mess. This fan decided to go ahead and just edit the cover. And all he did was say like, "Oh, I made it better. Here it is." He wasn't being rude. He wasn't like it genuinely. I don't think it came from a nasty place. Like I think it was genuinely like he does Photoshop. Like he's a photo editor for his job. He wanted to edit the album cover the way he thought it should be, and he pretty much took what I was saying last week and did that. Like, and I don't know who this person is at all. Like it's clearly a common thought that this album cover is hideous. And Ice Spice takes it upon herself to take one of his photoshopped covers. It was a Mariah Carey photo, like a album cover. He recreated it, and she took his photo and Mariah's photo and quote tweeted his edit of the album and said, "You thought you ate." That is just so uncalled for. I like you are an artist. Your fans are telling you they don't like an album cover. Just don't respond then. There's no need to like fight back with a fan and to go to their profile, save his image to your phone, save Mariah Carey's album cover to your phone, and tweet it with your chest and act like that's like a normal behavior thing. It's just not a good look. And it's just not a good look. It's petty, it's immature. Sure, you can be upset that the fan thought they made a better album cover. And I'm sorry, they did. But to go to their profile and take the energy to like craft a whole tweet, save their photos to your phone, like do the whole thing, like come on now. It and not to say anything rude, but think about who Ice Spice associates with. Nicki Minaj, who I love. Don't come for me, Barbs. I do love Nicki. I think she's a little off her rocker, but I still love Nicki. She would do the same thing. She literally is like so petty, so immature in that way. She fights back. Where Megan took the feedback, listened to it, thought about it, released something better, and that was the mature route. And I don't know. It rubbed me the wrong way seeing Ice Spice like argue with a fan like that when all he was doing was doing something creative. I don't know. It was just weird. And I'm going to leave it at that. And with that, that is the end of our episode. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Too Pop to Handle. If you liked what you heard and you're listening to us at a podcast, make sure you go ahead and leave us a 5-star rating, leave me a review, let me know what you're thinking. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, give us a like, hit all the buttons except for dislike. And if you would like to follow us on social media, we are at Too Pop to Handle on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, you name it, I am there. You can go ahead and follow myself on social if you would like to. I am at Andrew Nucatola on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Go check out my Gov Ball vlogs. Not to brag, but I think they're pretty great, and I've been making so much TikTok content over there, so go check it out. Follow along, join the family, and like I always say, if everybody listening to this podcast sent it to one friend, I will double the listeners. It is simple math. Just click that little share button. They make it really, really easy to send it to a friend. It's simple math. What more can I say? And with that, I will catch you guys next week. Bye!